What is up, boyos? Welcome to Topics with Jake. We're going to be talking about the Oscars, huh? One of my favorite times of the year. The Oscars just happened. Of course, if you watch this channel at all, I love movies. It's something I'm very passionate about. And I love talking about movies. Check out my car reviews. Check out me and Nick's spoiler cast. But the Oscars just happened. And before, I do want to talk about the winners and losers of the Oscars. Because, of course, that was the plan from the beginning. I wanted to talk about the winners and losers. But I think there's something that needs to be addressed right off the bat. Of course, this is what everyone's going to be talking about with the Oscars, which is unfortunate because there was a lot of great movies that won awards and also some great performances that happened at the Oscars. And those are all going to be overshadowed by this little incident that happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Chris Rock came out to, I can't even remember what award it was. He was announcing the nominees for. He made some joke about Jada, Will's wife, looking like G.I. Jane, I guess, and apparently they took that as like a knock against her hair, which she has trouble growing due to alopecia, I guess. And Will went on stage and smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, and then proceeded to scream obscenities from the audience, which it was shocking to say the least. You didn't expect that, and you certainly didn't expect that from someone like Will Smith, who's kind of known for being like the upstanding guy, father. Will's a nice guy. He has a song called "Nice Guy." That's always been his persona. He doesn't cuss in his rap songs. Like Will's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
How you doing?
He's a nice guy.
Good to see you.
He's a nice guy.
How your mama know?
So Will going up there and smacking Chris Rock was shocking, especially when you look at the footage and you see Will kind of laugh at it at first, and then he goes up and smacks him, which is just weird. I felt kind of bad for Chris Rock. I'm assuming Chris Rock had no idea about her alopecia when he made the joke, but even still, it's a G.I. Jane joke, meaning she looks like a badass woman, I guess. But maybe I'm off base there. This is not really about the joke. That could be its own conversation, and I think that's the biggest issue here is we won't even have a conversation about whether or not Chris Rock's joke was offensive or not, because Will kind of took that out of the equation when he went up there and smacked him in the face. And Will shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it. Violence is never the answer. And then him going up, because of course he ended up winning Best Actor. Spoilers, we'll talk about that in a minute too. He went up and did his speech and ended the speech by saying love makes you do crazy things.
But love will make you do crazy things.
Which is something, I come from a family of social workers and counselors, and it's got to be said, that is something that every abuser in the history of abuse says. That's an abuser line, an abuser tactic through and through. So, yeah, what Will did was wrong, not okay. I felt bad for Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock handled it like a professional by saying basically, hey, this is going to be hot TV. It did look like he was going to cry, though. I mean, he got smacked in the face. And for everyone defending Will, let me put it like this. Are we really defending a guy that hit another guy with an open hand slap? Come on. Ridiculous. It should have never happened. And let's also talk about the Oscars not properly responding to what happened. If I'm not mistaken, when Kanye went up and interrupted Taylor Swift at whatever award show that was, I can't even remember, he was escorted out of the building, right? I haven't done any research on this. It's just, this is coming to the top of my dome, but he was kicked out of the building, right? Well, Will smacked Chris in the face. Should he not have been kicked out of the building? And not only was he not kicked out of the building, he was able to accept his award later on and do a whole goddamn speech. I think that's the most weird and upsetting thing about all of this. If I were to go up to somebody and smack them in the face at a bar or anywhere, I'd get, if I went to a comedy club and a guy made fun of my purple shirt that looks black because of the lighting, but it's a purple shirt. If I went to a comedy club and someone made a joke about my purple shirt and I went up and smacked that comedian in the face, I believe I'd be kicked out of the comedy club. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, what else can be said? What happened was insane, and ultimately it's going to be great ratings for the Oscars, and I think people will tune in next year because of this incident. This is certainly the next Kanye moment, and as if you're an older viewer of this content, this is the Janet Jackson nipple slip of the Super Bowl. This is going to be talked about at least for the next week. I'm thinking about the Grammys that happen next week, and I'm thinking it's going to be pretty hard to top that. It was very entertaining. Certainly, we're all talking about it, we're all looking at it, so certainly entertaining. Another thing I want to address that seemingly not a lot of people are addressing, Liza Minnelli came out with Lady Gaga, and correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm out of turn here, and like maybe I'm taking it a step too far, looking too deeply into something, but it felt a little like elder abusey. It seemed like Liza Minnelli couldn't remember where she was. It seemed she said hello to the audience twice. She seemed a little out of it. There's no way she could properly consent to be on the Oscars, right? It seemed a little weird and uncomfortable. I understand Liza is a legend, and you want to give thanks to a legend, but it just felt a little off to me. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm taking it a step too far. Before we get into the awards, I want to talk about a couple of the performances that I thought were great. I thought Beyonce's performance at the beginning of the show, starting it off with a Beyonce song, fantastic. We all love Beyonce. She can do no wrong in this household. Also, Billie Eilish doing the No Time to Die theme was fantastic. I loved No Time to Die. Definitely got snubbed at the Oscars this year for sure, but I think it's a great movie. I liked the little tribute to James Bond for its 60th anniversary. And one more thing, Fan Choice Awards went to, it went to Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. And I believe that is proof on why fans should not vote on who wins Oscars, because Army of the Dead was maybe the worst Zack Snyder film to ever come out. It's still a fun movie. It was okay. Dave Bautista's fun in it. But yeah, that ain't it. That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. All right, I have pulled up the awards here, and I am going to talk about it. I am going to be honest and upfront. I have seen most of the Oscar-nominated films, most of them, and I want to preface most. And now that I've watched the Oscars in full, there are a couple that I have embarrassingly not seen, and I will address those when we get to them. But I have seen almost every Oscar-nominated movie. Just want to put that out there. So just starting off here, makeup and hairstyling goes to The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And the other movies that were nominated, Cruella, Dune, House of Gucci, Coming to America. Besides Coming to America and House of Gucci, any of these three movies, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, I think if any of them won, we all would have been happy. Cruella had amazing makeup and hairstyles, obviously. Dune, of course, was an insane movie, and as we'll get to, kind of swept the Oscars. And The Eyes of Tammy Faye, of course, Jessica Chastain, the way they made her look like Tammy Faye was amazing and an achievement. So definitely well deserved there. Film editing goes to Dune. Yeah, just fantastic editing in that movie. People could argue that the movie was poorly paced because of the editing. I would not be one of those people. I liked the slow pacing of Dune, and I think that's all attributed to the great editing of that movie. So I think that was a well-deserved Oscar, for sure. visual effects goes to Dune. And if you look at Dune, if you look at images of Dune, you'll see why that wins. But just to throw it out here, the other nominated movies were Free Guy, which had pretty good visual effects. No Time to Die, which I would say had some really spectacular visual effects. Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings also had some amazing visual effects. In Spider-Man No Way Home, I think a lot of people would make that argument that should have won, but if I'm being honest, of the two Marvel films, Shang-Chi had the better visual effects, in my opinion. But Dune winning that seems to make a lot of sense. Dune also won Best Original Score. Of course, Hans Zimmer. It's one of his masterclasses. You can't really top Hans Zimmer when it comes to scores, and well deserved. The next section was live action short film. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen any of these, so I'll just say The Long Goodbye won. Congrats to them. Hadn't seen any of these short films, unfortunately. Same with the animated short films here, which went to The Windshield Wiper. Congrats to them. Achievement in sound went to Dune, which of course I was kind of surprised that this won. I thought it would go to West Side Story, just because it's a musical and people love that. Also, No Time to Die had amazing sound in it, but Dune makes perfect sense. Very iconic sounds in that movie. The dragonfly flappers and stuff. Really good sound in that movie. Costume design went to Cruella, which I believe was well deserved. Cruella had amazing costumes going on, so good job to Cruella. I think the only one that could have potentially taken that from Cruella was also Dune. Cinematography went to Dune. And as far as the other films, I think Nightmare Alley had a shot to take cinematography, because as far as films nominated this year, I think Nightmare Alley was only really nominated because of its cinematography in other categories. So that's the only other one here. Maybe The Tragedy of Macbeth as well, but that I think could have been nominated or could have won cinematography, but it makes a lot of sense that Dune won that, as well as production design. That could have gone to West Side Story as well, but of course it goes to Dune. Dune had amazing production design. Best Director, it went to Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, which was the winner of this category. Which the only thing that was surprising to me about The Power of the Dog winning Best Director was that it did not win more awards. Because it seemed as though going into this event, The Power of the Dog was the front runner, it seemed, for a lot of these awards, but it seems as though Dune went out and stomped everything, just about. Actress in a leading role went to Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which makes a lot of sense. It was a very stacked category with Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos and Kristen Stewart in Spencer. Those three performances were fantastic. Of course, I got to be honest here. I had not seen Penelope Cruz in Parallel Mothers or Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter, unfortunately. So I can't really state my opinions on those films. But between the three that I had seen, I think if any of them won, I would have been happy for them. I was kind of rooting for Kristen Stewart just because I thought her performance in Spencer was a next level performance and a career defining performance. I think it's going to be hard for Kristen Stewart to top that performance, where I think Jessica Chastain still has a lot in her tank, and I think she's going to do a lot more in her future. Not that Kristen Stewart isn't. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's going to be hard for Kristen Stewart to top Spencer. I just thought that performance was so good in that movie. So don't take me out of line here. Actor in a leading role, of course, went to Will Smith, which we addressed a little bit earlier. And his speech was heightened and a little insane. Will Smith seems a little unhinged I hope the guy's doing okay, mentally. If I'm being honest, yeah, I hope he's doing okay. I was surprised that this movie won Best Actor. Personally, I would have given it to Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom. In fact, I would have given it to Andrew Garfield, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, or Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. Any of them winning over Will Smith, I think, would have made me happy. And it has nothing to do with the Will Smith incident. For me, King Richard as a movie didn't really do it for me. I remember hearing the announcement, oh, they're making a Venus and Serena Williams movie. I'm like, oh, great. It's starring Will Smith. And to me, I was like, why would you make a Venus and Serena Williams movie not about Venus and Serena? Why would you make it about their dad, who comes off, if I'm being honest, a little abusive, and they glorify this abusive man, is how I perceived that movie. And on top of the subject matter, I thought the movie was boring. Wasn't too into the movie. Of course, once again, don't come at me in the comments. This is all just my opinions. I just personally feel like the other four contenders, specifically Andrew Garfield and Denzel Washington, should have won. It would have been actually really neat if Denzel won. Just him being an absolute legend, it would have been nice to see him win. And I just thought Andrew Garfield's performance in Tick, Tick, Boom was next level. It was next level. But I am surprised Benedict Cumberbatch didn't win for The Power of the Dog, because it seemed as though that was the front runner. That was the one everyone was sort of talking about before the Oscars happened. Like I said, The Power of the Dog won a lot less Oscars than I initially thought was going to happen. So overall, I was surprised by that category. Original screenplay went to Belfast, which is great, and I think well-deserved. I'm glad to see Belfast got some love at the Oscars. Very slept-on movie this year, but very, very cool. Very, very glad that Belfast won that. Kenneth Branagh, of course, fantastic, both at acting and directing. He directed Belfast, which is a great movie. Definitely check it out if you have not. And now here's where I get a little embarrassed. Like I said earlier about not seeing a couple of these movies. I had not seen Coda, and let me give you a reason why I hadn't seen Coda. Every time it was a limited screening when it was in theaters, so I never had time to see it in theaters, and then it came to Apple TV, and I don't have an Apple TV subscription, so I just never got a chance to see Coda. And it ended up winning Adapted Screenplay, and it ended up winning a couple other awards. That makes me kind of embarrassed that I didn't see it. But it was really cool. All the love and support to the deaf community. Everyone, doing the sign language clapping. It was great. So congrats to them. I plan on watching that movie as soon as I can find an Apple TV login. Animated feature film went to Encanto. I couldn't imagine it going to anyone else. So, yeah, good for Encanto. Original song went to No Time to Die, which is insane. Okay, just to put this in perspective, Billie Eilish, I believe, has won 12 Grammys in her life, and now has won an Oscar for No Time to Die, which means she's won 12 Grammys and an Oscar. And I believe she's 19 years old. Just think about that. That's wild. Good for her. Good for her. Documentary feature went to Summer of Soul, which is another one I had not seen. But congrats to Questlove and the gang for that one. Documentary short went to The Queen of Basketball, which is, once again, I had not seen any of those in that category. International feature film went to Drive My Car, which I had not seen Drive My Car. I've heard great things about that movie as well. I plan on watching all of these movies, at least all the winners, since they won. So congrats to them. Here it's wonderful. Actor in a supporting role went to Troy Kotsur in Coda. And from what I heard, like I said, I had not seen Coda, but from what I've heard, everyone absolutely loved that movie and loved him in particular in that movie. So congrats to him, Troy Kotsur. Actress in a supporting role went to Ariana DeBose in West Side Story, which is great. That's fantastic. I am a little saddened that it didn't go to Kirsten Dunst. I thought she was phenomenal in The Power of the Dog, and I would have loved to see her win that. But congrats to Ariana DeBose. And Best Picture, and I'm going to read these all out just so it gets the credit it deserves. Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. And the winner was Coda, which, once again, I am embarrassed. I did not see that movie. And not seeing that movie, I think it's hard for me to say I wouldn't have given it to that movie. But I'll say what I said to my friend who said they didn't like the movie and they didn't understand why it won. Representation leaves an impact. And I think that's a big reason why this movie won. The representation is important. And I'm happy to see it win. I'll watch it. I'll come back with a review if you'd like. Leave a comment if you want me to do just like a fun review for Coda, so you know what I think of it. Maybe I'll end up hating it and wonder why it won as well. But I'd have to assume that that's a big reason why. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. I am a little surprised it didn't go to Dune, considering Dune swept almost every other big category. But yeah, congrats to Coda. It was a wild and crazy time at the Oscars this year, and I am excited to see what the future holds for the Oscars. I think this might save. It's funny. I think Will Smith actually might save the Oscars here to see it stick around for another year. But with that, I'm gonna end this. See you later. I've got a lot of content coming up. I've got a new deep dive with Jake coming out on Wednesday with Jordan of New Comga. So make sure you check out that interview. It was a very fun interview. We ended up just talking about Marvel and DC stuff for an hour and a half, and it was a lot of fun. So shout out to New Comga. Great guy. Also, check out the Last Week in Games, where we talk about video games, me and Nick, every week. And yeah, I'm working on a couple big projects. They may take a while just because life is hard and difficult, and we're all trying to get by here. Be nice. Don't be violent to anyone. If you see someone you disagree with online, maybe don't comment on it. I should take that advice myself. We'll see you later, guys.